Police have released the footage the moment two selfish street racers who fled the country were arrested at Manchester Airport. Osama Saeed, who's 32, and Asgar Taj, who's 35, now face having to serve the 12-year prison sentence each was given in their absence after admitting causing the death by dangerous driving via a FaceTime call over the deadly contest on a public dual carriageway.
Osama, Asgar, it's 6 minutes past 7, okay? Obviously you're both aware that there's a warrant out for your arrest for failing to appear at Manchester Minshull Street Crown Court, okay? You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you didn't mention now something which later line in court. Anything that you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? Do you have any questions? Okay. I'm going to handcuff you both to the rear, please.
On you.
And we're just going to give you a quick search.
The pair had fled partway through their trial and were intercepted and arrested travelling back from Abu Dhabi this morning. Saeed was at the wheel of a high-performance Audi RS6 whilst Taj was riding a Suzuki motorbike on the A34 near Wilmslow in Cheshire in September 2020 when fellow racer Asad Rashid, who's 34, suffered fatal injuries. An eyewitness who watched the reckless group race past her moments earlier described how she thought she got in the way of filming for Top Gear. Shocked motorists told how Taj was seen deleting the Instagram app from his phone as he lay injured in the carriageway in a bid to destroy incriminating evidence. But both fled partway through their trial last October before, in a highly unusual move, later dialing in over a lawyer's mobile phone to plead guilty. Today, Cheshire Police shared photos of the fugitives being handcuffed before being brought to court, saying it showed officers will not give up. Investigator Steve Griffiths of the Force's Serious and Complex Collision Investigation Unit said, "As this result demonstrates, we will not give up. If you are committed a crime in Cheshire, you'll be arrested and you'll be held accountable." On their arrival at Manchester Airport this morning, Saeed and Taj were both greeted by a team of officers from the Cheshire Police's Serious and Complex Collision Investigation Unit, along with support from the Roads and Crime Units and Greater Manchester Police. Both men were promptly detained at the arrival gate and will be put in front of the courts later. Along with Rashid, the pair had travelled from their homes in Bradford to race a fourth driver, Mohammad Zubair Chaudhry, who was driving an Audi R8. Witnesses told of seeing the two cars and two motorbikes lined up at row traffic lights at about 10 o'clock in the night before they roared away when they turned green, vanishing from sight within seconds. But moments later, there was an explosion of lights and sparks as they all lost control at a roundabout due to their excessive speed, narrowly missing innocent motorists. Chaudhry tore off the bottom of his Audi's engine as it hit the middle of the roundabout, with the wrecked supercar flying into the air before coming to rest 134 metres up the road. The two motorbikes and the Audi RS6 both then hit the roundabout at around the same time, with both riders thrown clear. Members of the public rushed their aid were son to see Taj, who had suffered a broken right arm and left foot, deleting Instagram files from his phone as he lay in the roadway before removing the app completely. Mr Rashid was struck by the Audi RS6 as it hit the central reservation, suffering fatal injuries after becoming trapped. Last December, both Saeed and Taj were handed 12-year sentences in their absence. Following their arrests, they were due to appear at Manchester Minshull Street Court this afternoon, and Chaudhry also pleaded guilty to causing death by dangerous driving. He was sentenced to 10 years and 7 months in prison in his absence, with inquiries to locate him still ongoing. Following Chaudhry's arrest, police found horrifying trophy videos on his phone, including driving at 139 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone close to a school and at 192 miles per hour on a motorway. After the trio was sentenced in their absence, Sergeant Andrew Dennison of Cheshire Police said, "Driving is a privilege, not a right, and it comes with great responsibility to act within the rules laid down when you pass your test. The sad death of Asad Rashid that night shows the catastrophic consequences that will happen when these rules are ignored." Taj, Chaudhry and Saeed all came to Wilmslow with Rashid, knowing they were coming to race the roads around Cheshire. They drove in a manner that puts everyone around them at risk, and the inevitable conclusion of this driving was a serious collision that claimed the life of Rashid. The knowledge of the group coming to race and the actions they undertook meant that they were all culpable of the death of Rashid, and as a result are all guilty of causing his death by dangerous driving. As a result of the selfish and dangerous actions taken that night, 4 families have been torn apart. Rashid is now dead, while Chaudhry, Saeed and Taj have all been handed significant prison sentences. None of the men have shown any remorse for their actions, and that fact that they failed to attend the hearing today demonstrates a total lack of accountability. While Rashid was not wholly innocent, he did not deserve to die, and if anything can be achieved from this case, I hope it acts as a warning to others and prevents any needless collisions like this from occurring again. So Saeed and Taj were remanded in custody to appear on Friday in court. Just want to say rest in peace to the victim. Condolences go out to your family. And in this next story, a man who said he would kill a random stranger unless he got sectioned has been found guilty of murdering a 74-year-old woman in Exeter. Cameron Davis stabbed Lorna England through the heart as she walked through a park in February 18, 2023. 3 hours earlier, he had left the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital after being assessed for mental health treatment. When he was arrested later that evening in Exeter City Centre, he blamed medics for not listening to his warnings. He said, "I fucking warned you. Why didn't they listen?" Davis admitted manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility but denied murder. The main issue for the jury at Exeter Crown Court was the extent of his mental illness at the time he killed. The prosecution said he was angry and manipulative, a drinker and drug user but not psychotic. The defense said he had more severe psychoaffective disorder. The jury rejected his defense and convicted him of murder, and he's going to be sentenced tomorrow. The judge told him, "You're going to be sentenced for the offence of murder. You know it must be a life sentence, and my task will be to decide what that minimum sentence will be. This will take place in the next day." The trial was told that Lorna, a fit and active woman, had set out from her home to buy some flour from Lidl. Her husband was waiting at home, usually made her a cup of tea when she returned. She was attacked by Davis at 3:55 p.m. in a wooded area before she reached home. Lorna died at the scene from a knife wound that penetrated her chest to the depth of 12 centimeters, and she also had a slash to her neck and defensive wounds on her hands. The trial heard detailed evidence about Davis's background and his involvement with mental health services in the months and years before the fatal attack. He had worked in construction but had been homeless at different times. In January, he was living in temporary accommodation as a guest house in Exmouth and told his support worker that he thought his mental health was deteriorating. He developed a fixation with his housing support worker and threatened to smash her head in. On the 28th of January, he was assessed by 2 psychiatrists after saying he would either kill himself or someone else. It was decided he did not need to be sectioned, and on February the 16th, he was given notice to leave his accommodation. On the day he killed Lorna England, Davis called police around 4 o'clock in the morning and told them that unless he was arrested, he would set fire to his flat or commit suicide. He told an ambulance crew who took him that he would harm a random member of the public if he was discharged from hospital. He repeated the threats when he was assessed by 2 experienced mental health nurses, and both had knowledge of his long medical history and decided he did not need to be admitted to hospital under the Mental Health Act because he was not psychotic. Davis left the hospital at midday. The movements over the next few hours were recorded on CCTV. Bought vodka and chocolate at McCall shortly before 1 o'clock, then went to Lidl where he bought more drink and a kitchen knife. He spent time in a doorway behind a sports centre and called his mother on the phone. He led to the jury, who was contemplating what he wanted to do to himself. He then walked into the park at 3:50 just as Lorna England was leaving Lidl. The last sighting of Lorna alive was CCTV of her walking along the path in the Ludwell Valley Park with Davis around 11 seconds behind her. A member of the public walking a dog saw a man and a woman near the bridge, and she said it looked as though if the male was blocking the woman's path. She heard the woman cry out in pain and collapse. Davis walked away from the scene, telling the witness she'd had a fit or something. In the aftermath of the attack, he was seen by several people. One woman said he followed her along the road. She goes, "I'm not easily scared, but I was immediately uneasy." David was seen behaving strangely and bothering customers in the Dolphin pub before getting a lift to the Ship and Pelican. He tried to buy a drink at the Horse and Groom but had no money. He was arrested outside the Yorkshire Bank at around 9:30 in the night. The prosecution said Davis was assessed multiple times by doctors over several years who diagnosed him with an emotionally unstable personality disorder. During one disruptive spell in a secure unit, he was branded somebody who faked symptoms. The doctor told the jury he had assessed Davis about 3 weeks before the killing, and he said, "We didn't think he was suffering from a psychotic illness or mental disorder at the time. We didn't think he was at risk to himself or others." Once again, I just want to say rest in peace to the victim, and my condolences go out to your family. But here's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.